Hi everyone, Leah here from EurekaCrystalBeads.com with another fun beading video for you. Before I get started, just a quick reminder to go check out the rest of our channel, and if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button and notification bell, and you'll always know when we're posting new content. Okay, today's project is going to be our Holiday Lace Bracelet, and it's going to utilize some pretty basic components. So this is a really great one for when you don't want to have to scrounge around for 10 different types of beads. So let's go over what we got here. First, we have one of the stars of our show, which are these 7mm Czech 2-hole cabochon beads. So as you can see, they have 2 holes that run from one end to the other. They're flat on the bottom and they are domed on the top. We also have some size 11 seed beads. We have some size 15 seed beads. And we have the other star of our show, the beautifully classic Swarovski crystal bicone in light cyan. And we have a toggle clasp. This is by Tiara Cast, and I think this one is particularly festive for this sort of bracelet. We're also going to be using some 6-pound fire line and a size 12 needle. Now, as far as how much fire line we're going to be working with, it really depends on how long your final bracelet is going to need to be. I would prepare to add on thread at least once. I would avoid working with so much thread that you're going to spend more time dealing with tangles, but that's up to you. I'm going to be starting off with a nice healthy wingspan of fire line, and I do anticipate probably having to add on thread at least once. All right, let's get started. Okay, to get started, we're going to be picking up a size 15 seed bead first, and this is going to act as our stop bead, but we're actually going to be incorporating this stop bead right into the project. So I'm going to bring it to close to the end of my thread. I'm going to leave enough of a tail that I would feel comfortable utilizing this later to add on part of our clasp. So I'm going to leave this about 6 to 8 inches long, just to be on the safe side. We're just going to double back through that 15, and we get our stop bead. Now, the cabochon beads, if you're not used to working with them, when you see that one side you have 2 holes close together and then the other side has 2 holes close together, this is how they run, like this. So one hole of that little too close hole little duo here is going to run to the other side of those other 2 holes that are really close together. So what we're going to do is we're going to almost drop our cabochon bead. We're going to just head right through one of the holes. And once we're on the other side, we're going to pick up a 15, an 11, and a 15. And we're going to head right into that other hole on that same side. This gets us back out to the same side of the cabochon bead that we started in. Now, if on this side we have 15, 11, 15, that's what we want here, but we already have one of our 15s here. So we're going to pick up the other 15 and the 11, and here's where we're going to start to incorporate that stop bead right into our design. So I'm going to head right into that stop bead and then right through that hole of the cabochon bead again. Just like this. So we made this kind of little loop-de-loo around the cabochon bead. So we started here with our stop bead, went through our cabochon bead, picked up 15, 11, 15, looped back through, picked up 15 and 11, and looped right back into that stop bead and through the cabochon bead again. Okay, pretty easy. So now we're going to head through those 3 beads all over again. Things might feel a little bit loose at first. That's okay. As we complete each step, we'll be able to pull it tight, and it's not going to be a problem. Just be careful you don't get your tail caught up into there. Okay, and then we're going to pass through the cabochon bead one more time. So this is the original side we started on, and that's where we're going to end up again. Give it a nice little tug. This pulls everything nice and tight. Okay, now we're going to pick up a 15, a bicone, and a 15, and we're going to go through another cabochon bead. So what I like to do, just to make sure that I'm going through my cabochon beads in the right direction, because if you're not careful, you might set up your next cabochon bead to be flat side up. So it's important that you make sure that everything's lined up. So I'm gonna sit this down right like this to make sure that everything is gonna be lined up. I'm gonna head right into this hole here and head through like this. We're going to pick up the same beads all over again. 15 bicone 15. This becomes a lot easier once you have a little bit more to hold on to, of course. We're going to go back to that first cabochon bead. You want to look at where your thread is coming out. And you want to loop back around and go through the hole again on the other side, so that way you're coming out in the same exact spot. And what this is going to do is it's going to loop both of our cabochon beads together like this. Now you could do this with a 2-needle method. I sometimes find that working with 2 needles gets a little too cumbersome for me, so I do prefer to translate this to a single needle method, but you certainly could work this as a 2-needle method where you would have a needle coming out from here, and you'd have a needle coming out from here, and you'd crisscross through the cabochon bead. But again, I like to translate these to single needle methods. So what we want to do now is we want to loop back around through this just to reinforce it and keep it tightened up. So we were coming out of here, we picked up 15 bicone 15, went through our new cabochon bead, 15 bicone 15, and then looped back through. So we're just going to follow that same exact path all over again. What I like to do when I do this is I just pinch my fingers on the top and the bottom of my beadwork, so that way as I pull, I keep things nice and tight, just like this. And it's okay if it starts to loosen up a little bit, because once I pull through this cabochon bead again, it's gonna tighten up again nicely. And sometimes you can't always get through it all in one pass, that's okay. So as you can see, it's gotten a little bit loose there, that's no problem. Just pass through that cabochon bead again, and now you'll be able to give it a nice little tug. It's gonna pull it all in. Okay. Now what we want to do is we want to get to this hole again in that new cabochon bead, because we're going to do one of these little picots again. So we're going to travel through this side of the new beads we added. So that was 15 bicone 15, just like that. Pull through. Just be careful as you're pulling that you don't get these loops caught on anything else, on any of the other beads around it. And now we're going to pass through again. Okay, so just to review, we were coming out of this hole. We picked up 15 bicone 15, looped into a new cabochon bead, 15 bicone 15, looped back through the old cabochon bead, and then looped through this again to tighten it up, and then passed lastly through that new cabochon bead again. So what we're going to do is make another little picot area here. So we're going to pick up 15, 11, 15. We're going to pass down the other hole on this side. We're going to do the same thing again, 15, 11, 15. Pass through this hole. Okay, and then we want to travel through these right here, so that way we can go down this hole one more time. There's not really a huge need to circle back through this all the way to reinforce it. This will stay pretty tight. It's these more open areas that I like to reinforce and go back through, just so that way they stay nice and tight. But the step that adds the little picots, we don't really have to do that. So we're just going to travel through part of it again as just a means to get to the next area that we want to be in. And just make sure that sometimes your needle might tend to pop through that 15. We don't want that to happen. We want to be coming out of the actual hole of the cabochon bead like that, not the little 15 after it that sometimes likes to line up with that hole. So that's what we have. Again, I'm not going to circle back through this again. This area is fine to not do that with. It's this area, which also adds additional reinforcement for the crystal, which is never a bad thing either. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do this step all over again. So we're kind of back where we started. So I'm going to pick up 15, bicone 15. Again, I find it easiest to lay down my next cabochon bead just to make sure that I'm not sewing it in to the design in a way that makes the flat part want to sit up. So that'll be just like this. I just find that to be helpful for me. Now I don't have to worry about it because it'll be situated exactly how I want it. Another 15 bicone 15. Sew back through the same exact hole that you are coming out of. Again, make sure not to go through that 15. Your needle's going to want to keep doing that. So again, we've looped together the next cabochon bead with the previous one. I'm going to loop back through all of this again, loop through here, and then back up. And again, as you can see, now that I have more to hold on to, it's exponentially easier. Things aren't flip-flopping around as much. Things are staying tighter, a lot easier. Okay, we're going to head through that cabochon bead. Again, just be aware of your needle wanting to pop through that 15 at the end. In this case, it didn't, so great. And then we're going to pass through this side of the 15 bicone 15 as a means to just travel through here to get to our new cabochon bead again. Okay, so at this point, all I'm going to be doing now is repeating this step again. Okay, so I'm going to keep repeating these steps a bit more off camera so I can build up a little bit more of this, and then I'll show you what the outer layer is going to look like and how we're adding our clasp. But before I do that, again, I'm just going to be picking up 15, 11, 15, just like right there. I'm going to loop down through the other hole, 15, 11, 15, back up through this hole, through the new beads on this side, and then down this hole again, so that way I can start from this spot again to add on another new cabochon bead. All right, I will see you back soon with more of this done. Okay, so this is what I have done up. And if you're curious about figuring out beads or how many you're going to need, you can grab a ruler here. You're going to need about 3 cabochon beads and 4 of the bicones for every inch or so of length that you want for your bracelet. So we're going to now add the clasp to side 1. So that's going to be down here. And after we add the clasp, we're going to go down the side and do another layer of beading. We'll add the clasp on the other side and then head back up to do that other side of beading on the opposite side. So to get our clasp added, here's where we are. We are coming out of the cabochon bead hole right there. I'm not coming out of the seed bead, I'm coming right out of the hole. Okay, and I'm going to pick up a few of my 15s. Thinking about 3 should, we'll go with 4. I think 4 should about cut it. We're going to go with a size 11 seed bead. Now we're going to do a little beaded loop. Now our 15s aren't going to fit through this clasp, and you can test that by when you have some 15s on there, try to see if they'll float through, and they won't here. So whatever size we do for our beaded loop, however many 15s we pick up, we're going to want to pick up half the amount now, go through the clasp, and then pick up the other half. So we're going to pick up 4, go through our clasp, and pick up the other 4. Okay, so let me show you what I have loaded on at the moment. I picked up 4 15s, size 11, and then 4 clasp 4. Or you could pick up 7 to 8 15s if they will float through that clasp. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back down through that 11. I'm going to pick up 4 more 15s to mirror the first 4 that I picked up. And we're going to go through that cabochon. And just pull nice and slowly to make sure that you don't get any kind of a tangle. And that's what we get. Okay. The reason that this was necessary and we couldn't just do a beaded loop is because otherwise our clasp would have been situated like this. And this is going to allow our clasp to sit correctly. But it's important that we reinforce this because you want to make sure that it's nice and strong. So what I'm going to be doing off camera is I'm going to go back through this 2 or 3 more times to make sure that it's nice and tight, and then I'll end up exiting the same spot that I am now. So I'll see you back in a minute. Okay, so our clasp has now been secured and reinforced, and I'm coming back out of that same hole on the cabochon. And to do the next step, I am going to pass through 2 more beads, the little 15 and the little 11 right there, the first 2 beads in that little picot. Because now it's going to get real easy. I find it easiest to work away from myself, so I'm going to flip over my bracelet. But all we're going to be doing is picking up a little sequence of beads over and over again and hopping from little 11 to little 11. So that sequence of beads is going to be a 15, an 11, a bicone, an 11, and a 15. And I'm going to hop right into the next 11 right there. Just like this. We're going to do that again. 15, 11, bicone, 11, 15. We're going to hop into the next one. I'm going to show you that one more time, and then I'll flip over the bracelet and show you how that's looking. So that's 15, 11, bicone, 11, 15. Pop right into the next 11 down your bracelet. And that is what we're going to look like. We're going to get this really pretty double crystal lacy look on the outside of the bracelet. Super easy. This latter half of the bracelet goes by really, really fast because it's not nearly as intricate to create as the center. So I'm going to keep going all the way down. We're going to get that clasp attached on, and then we're going to do this step all the way back up, and then we will be done. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so we have our finished bracelet. All we did was after I added those outer crystals here, and we added on our clasp right there, we just headed right back down and did the same exact thing on the other side, and then added the other half of the clasp in the same exact fashion that I had just shown you. And then at that point, it was just weaving out our thread. We have this really fun lacy bracelet. So this is our holiday lace bracelet. And again, you can make this in any array of colors. I hope this is a beautiful seasonal inspirational piece for you. But we have these 2-hole cabochon beads in so many colors, bicones, 15s and 11s in a rainbow of colors. And what we'll do is we'll link you below to the products I used, and you'll be able to see all of the other colors for yourself. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this project. Make sure to visit us on over at eurekacrystalbeads.com anytime you have any beading needs, and I'm sure we can help you out. Until next time, bye.